G'day everyone, I'm Dr. Peter Price of Professor Pete's Classroom. Welcome to the first video in this teaching series for parents of children in grades K to 6 who are concerned about their child's ability in math. In this video I'm going to look at 5 misconceptions, I think they're quite common misconceptions, about the teaching of math to young children. So let us begin. The first one is believing that technology has superseded the memorizing of times tables. This one's been around for a while. We've had calculators since about the 1970s, which I remember from when I was at high school. And since then we've struggled with the idea of what do we do about memorizing times tables? Should we still do it, or do we let the calculator do all the hard work? And quite frankly, there's a lot of confused thinking and confused discussion about this. Memorizing times tables is still essential. It's not an optional extra. It's not, if you feel like doing it for a hobby, go ahead and do it. Every child needs to have memorized their times tables. Calculators and smartphones and tablets and what have you are fantastic machines, but they don't think. They can't think. Only a human being can do that. And we need our students, our children, to grow up to be adults who are confident and competent at using their times tables from memory like that. So there are other reasons that I'll go into in another video, but basically to me there's no choice in the matter. It has to be that way. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 is a big one. I see it in classrooms sometimes with very young children and not so young children, where children are counting on their fingers. Don't allow your child to count on his or her fingers. It looks like a reasonably good idea because counting is the foundation for mathematics. That's true. And we've got fingers on our hands, so it's easy to go, well, let's start by counting those. It's a really bad idea for this reason. It becomes a habit to work out answers to questions that is extremely hard to break. After all, as the child gets older, he or she will have fingers on their hands wherever they go, and it's just so easy to count on fingers instead of memorizing, as I said before, times tables and the addition facts and so on. It should all happen in the head. The child needs to learn to visualize and so on. So there are other ways that we would do it, which I don't have time for right now, but basically help your child to think about the numbers, to visualize the numbers, and invite them, encourage them to avoid relying on their fingers. Third one, leaving the teaching of math to your child's teacher. Again, this sounds somewhat plausible. The teacher that your child has is an expert. They've been to university, they've got a degree. They must know more about it than you do. Well, they probably do, and they know a lot of theory, and they are professionals, and the vast majority of teachers are dedicated to the well-being of their students and so on. However, they don't have the time and the energy and the resources to devote to your individual child that you do. So although your child spends a lot of time at school every day, the teacher is distracted and busy and trying to teach a whole class full of students. He or she simply cannot give your child the attention that you know that your child deserves. So I encourage you to be involved at home, helping with homework, homeschooling, however you do it. Give your child practice and help them, not just in math, of course, but that's what we're talking about here. And simply don't hand over responsibility to the teacher and say, well, I don't understand it, but I'm letting the teacher do it. Because, you care more about your own children than anybody else. All right, number 4. Allowing your own math challenges to put you off trying to help. Now, I mean this with the greatest of respect. I enjoyed math when I was at school. I was good at it. That's why I'm teaching it now, long into my career. But I know that's not true for everybody. You may have struggled with math yourself. Let me encourage you, however you found math at school, if it was your worst subject, if you hated every minute of it, you can still help your child. And by that I mean you've learned to cope to use the math you do know, whatever level of math you ever reached at school. You've learned to use math in your everyday life, and you can show your child and you can teach your child how you handle life as an adult with the math that you learned at school. Of course, if you look back and wish that you'd worked harder and you wish you'd paid more attention and all that sort of thing, and many of us have those regrets, then tell that to your child. So in other words, don't allow, as I've said already, don't allow your own challenges to put you off trying to help your own child, because you have so much that you can contribute. Of course, if you loved math, if you were great at math at school, then in some ways that will be easier. But you will have, whatever your background, as I said, you have the capacity to help your child. Fifth and final one for this video, misconceptions about teaching your child math. This is another huge one. I won't spend too long. I don't want to get too controversial about this, but trusting governments and education theorists to work out how best to teach math. Again, they have a level of expertise that you and I don't have, and they've got large budgets and they're spending millions or billions of dollars or pounds or whatever to figure it out. But if you wait for your own national government or your state government or whatever to figure out the best way to teach math, your child can probably fall behind and, you know, slip between the cracks, however we want to put it, while they're still trying to figure it out. I don't have a huge amount of confidence in government departments and committees and educational theorists to get it right. They've been trying it for hundreds of years, decades at least, and they're still struggling to get everything right. Basically, pouring more and more money into it isn't the answer, and it's not really going to fix the problems that are there. What really makes an impact, in my opinion, is having people who care about the students, who are willing to sit alongside them and say, let me show you, let me help you, encourage the child to do better. And of course, you're in an ideal position to do that. So by all means, keep up to date with what the government is saying, what the theory is saying, but at the end of the day, your child is your child, and no one loves your child as much as you do. And so again, I encourage you to be involved. That's the end of this short video. I'd love to have your feedback. There's links on this page or in the email that I sent you. Just send me a quick reply. I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to have a conversation with you. That's it for this one. I look forward to talking to you in the next video, which is about benefits from memorizing your times tables. So I think you're really going to find that one useful also. But until then, from me, it's goodbye.